Welcome back to Out of the Rough. I'm Fred Arnold, joined by Scott Lopez. I'm excited to interview you today, Scott.
It's our first time, and we're friends already.
We're
It's
friends.
fabulous.
A Marine Corps F-18 pilot, and you converted that wisdom that you learned and that mental toughness to be a mental toughness coach and performance expert.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. So, what is mental toughness?
Well, it's thought control and emotional control. It's your thoughts drive everything. You know, all of the top achievement experts, whether it be Tony Robbins or Mark Twain or Jesus or Socrates, they all said one thing, right? And they believe you become what you think about. So what are you thinking about? So what I learned as a performance expert and really understanding how the brain works, your thoughts lead to your emotions. Your emotions, which are in your feelings, lead to your actions and your behaviors, which lead to your results and your performance. It's a loop. It's a pattern. Right? And for 99% of the people out there, we have negative habit patterns. And how do we know this? Well, look at the results. How many billionaires are there on the planet? How many are CEOs? How many presidents? It's a small group of people. And nobody's better than anybody else. Everybody is equal. But the fact is there are average performers and there are exceptional performers. And the difference is they have different habit patterns than everybody else.
A couple things you said that I really resonate. There is no such thing as a loser. There's average people and extraordinary people.
Performers.
Just do great things.
Yeah.
Which I truly believe in, and I love that. I want to talk about an example of when you were flying.
Sure.
When you were flying, when that mental toughness had to come in because it was life or death for you, and how you translate that into the business world.
Yeah, so I think one of the best examples where it was life defining for me was flying F-18s. And it was our first time that we had to go out and do night carrier landing practices. And we went to a small island, South of Catalina Island. It's called San Clemente Island. It's has a military airstrip out there. And that particular night, it was me and 6 other guys. We're flying F-18s. It's raining. It's pitch black dark. It's torrential thunderstorm. So the winds are everywhere, coming in different directions. So the jet's bumping all over the place. And the cloud cover was only 1,000 feet above the ground. But the pattern was 1,200 feet, meaning we had to go to 1,200 feet. You land, you go back up to 1,200 feet, so we're going in and out of the clouds. That night, those are tough conditions anyway, but the strobes are going off on the wings of the jet, and I'm starting to have a freaking trance dance show in my cockpit, right? And I'm getting vertigo. And so I have to, and when you have vertigo and you kind of get the leans, your body actually thinks that you're turning. You're in a turn, and I got to keep that jet straight. So my natural indication is to correct, but if I would have corrected, I would have started a turn. So I've got to I've got to focus on my training. I got to focus on my instruments. I got to listen to the radio. I got to land this jet, and you're coming down like this, and then you got to make this mad dash at the last minute. It's carrier style, right? So it's not regular landing style. And I was out there for an hour and a half, and it was I probably lost 7 pounds that night, and failure wasn't an option. Right. And when I came back from that, I was mentally spent, I was emotionally spent, physically drenched, sitting in my car in the parking lot afterward outside of the squadron area. And I knew I could do it after that.
Right. Yeah. Discipline. It took a lot of discipline.
Focus and clarity.
Let's talk about something that a lot of people, they go to self-help or they read self-help. And it's good because at least acknowledging it is half the battle, but they don't get the results that they want. How are you able to get results from those that maybe aren't getting results to begin with, but they're trying?
So it goes back to the thoughts lead to your emotions and your behavior, your feelings. And then that leads to your actions, and that leads to your performance and results. So it starts this loop, right? Even Tony Robbins and a lot of experts are now starting to look at this. How do you break the pattern? Well, here's what we know. Your inspiration, your motivation, your willpower, your purpose, your passion, your why, all of those things, and none of those things are strong enough to beat a negative habit pattern. So when people come out of their New Year's resolutions or they come out of the self-help seminars, they get back into their environment and they just can't follow through. It's because their programming, or really their subconscious, has something that's moving them in a different direction.
In a negative map?
It is, yeah. And we've all gotten this negative programming our whole life. Who are you to be special? Who are you to be
extraordinary?
Extraordinary, yeah. Right? So what happens? How do you break that? First of all, you got to recognize what's going on. You have to become the observer of your thoughts, and then you need to apply that to a system. Everybody's winging it, right? They're winging it. And how do we know they're winging it? Because look at their results. When we look at the top performers, they've got their system. So I use a system that's based on science and research, and it's your success equals your vision. What's your vision of your life? times your action plan, actually putting that vision into daily goals and time management and strategies, times your mental toughness. What is that defined as? It's really, how do you overcome your fears, your uncertainties, your doubts, that little voice in the back of your head that says, you can't do it, who are you to do it?
Your fears and your doubts.
That's it.
And they were created a long time ago, and most of them are irrelevant.
They're irrational, right? Times your tenacity. Never, ever, 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 never give up.
Right.
You know, and most people just kind of give up before they ever get started. And I think the last one is having an attitude of learning, being the student, learning from your mistakes, right? Always seeking an advantage. So if you got traction in all 5 of those areas, you're going to get the results, as long as you also remember your thoughts lead to your emotions. Because remember, when we were babies, when we were infants, what's the first language that we actually learned? The brain it was 3D imagery and feelings before we actually had the written language. So the subconscious is always recording that. This is cool. The modern day, or actually the example of this is the genie in the bottle, right? Ask the genie what you want. The genie will give it to you. Just be careful what you ask for, right?
Exactly.
Right?
You ask for a lot of success, it might bring some other things.
Exactly.
We're just about out of time, but I want to ask you about one quick thing.
Sure.
And that is your discipline with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Real quickly, tell us about that discipline and how that helps you coach others.
So my daughters were in it way back in the day, and I got called out, and I was like, go girls, and the instructor said, if you're so tough, why don't you come on the mat with us? That was 6.5, 7 years ago. I've been doing this sport. I actually won a world championship last year.
Yeah.
It is the ultimate self-control, mental toughness, kill or be killed, you know, and it's a real family-oriented sport as well with your teammates.
Great. Thanks. I know you embrace servant leadership without a doubt.
Servant leadership,
yeah.
got to give back. It's the only way.
Yeah, give back. Well, we're going to have you back.
Thank you.
In the last segment with our panel. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Lopez, F-18 pilot, once a Marine, always a Marine, and a mental toughness coach and performance expert. We're going to jump to a quick break, and we'll be right back.